Welcome out, ladies and gentlemen, to this RGL-HL Invite Week 2 cast going on between Fast Forward and the kids next door on PL Swiftwater. I am Alto. I'm joined by mustardoverlord to my side and Dolphin behind the scenes. Mustard, how you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good, a little tired, but this seemed like a pretty good matchup, so I decided to, check it out.
Yeah.
Pay a visit to my old game mode.
Yeah, definitely. With Fast Forward coming off a really good performance last week against Irene, it should be an interesting matchup against KND tonight. Just moving over to Payload, and some notes: we will be having some roster changes for KND tonight. It appears they will be having Scissor on Scout. Looks like it'll be Spyro on Pyro as Oblivion cannot make it, and Blake on Heavy as Kresnik cannot make it either. So, with three mains out of the lineup for KND. Fast Forward definitely has a bit of a better shot at taking this match than they would have otherwise, but I'd still say that KND are probably favored to win.
I see it as pretty close. The way I put it before we went live, Alto, is that if Fast Forward can't capitalize on this moment when a team who's clearly above them in the standings is so weakened, then the gap is pretty large, maybe even larger than we thought, because those are some pretty significant changes. I mean, Eric is a monster on Scout. Kresnik's such a smart player. I don't know anything about Blake playing Heavy. I don't know, maybe someone will correct me and he was actually like a Steel Heavy for 20 seasons, but I have to see him as a medic. It is a different class, even though it's not like a mechanically incredibly demanding class that does rely a lot on intelligence and positioning, which medic has. I think, and then Obliv for Spyro. I don't know how long it's been since Spyro has played. He's playing 90 ping Pyro, that could always be a factor. I know Obliv has a very specific playstyle. He plays very aggressively, takes a lot of heals and Ubers and stuff, so I don't know. It seems like it would make a big impact from my point of view, but I understand that there's a pretty big gap to start with.
Yeah, KND's been a pretty clear front runner this season, coming out and really not being, pressured by anyone. They've been rolling Irene in scrims, and the rest of the division has been right behind them. So not too many teams been able to really put them under any kind of pressure. We know Denny's didn't last week after a pretty swift 4-0, and you're gonna have to look to this week to see if maybe KND might either drop a round or drop a match, because with this double round robin format that RGL's using, getting that one win early against the bigger team, gives you a bit of a win cushion later on, if you lose a game to a team near you in the standings, or it could give you the chance to, hop up or get a game on someone else who doesn't get to play KND, under these circumstances. So really big for Fast Forward tonight if they can come out, because any rounds or wins, if they can get them, would mean a lot later on in the season.
Yeah, for sure. Although it is still, a long season, and I personally, just looking at the roster of Irene, I feel like they have to pull it together a little bit more. Maybe they'll make some changes, even bring in some more just incredibly good players. Maybe Sigafu will change the rules around. No, am I not allowed to say that? I don't know who my employer is. I'm a loose cannon. It's okay though. We got this. Whatever the case.
I don't think we have any roster limitations in Invite. I mean,
yeah, not yet. Not yet. Not until my super team comes in. Deadringer Storage 2. Nah, I don't see that.
The revival.
I don't see that in the cards. But in this particular matchup, I'm wondering who some of the players you're looking at for standouts are, Alto, because I have a couple ideas of myself. I mean, I know for Fast Forward at least, having seen them the last couple seasons in the roster now, I'd expect Wish and Exile in particular to be the two most dominant players. Wish is an incredibly good Highlander scout. Exile is always really high up on the damage charts, very central to the team, important calling voice. Although this is, Swiftwater, not always a map that scouts love, depending on their play style, so we'll see about that. But yeah, I would always point to Wish and Exile for them. I was wondering your thoughts.
I'm definitely leaning towards Fallen Lord. Said it in the article. He had a really strong showing last week, consistently outperforming Boar over their extremely long match against Irene. But as Space Coast is one of the few weak links on KND, I would say, not even that much of a weak link, just a little bit of a step below, not always the most consistent player. I'm looking towards Fallen to be able to create a big mismatch there if Fast Forward is going to win this match. We have just gotten word that, we were waiting on Bull to join the server as he's got some IRL obligations, but we have gotten word that it will be Etney on Demo and Unicorn Wizard coming in on Soldier, meaning that the roster changes for KND keep coming up right now. So
and that's a pretty big one. I mean, I think Unicorn Wizard and Etney aren't ridiculously far apart on Soldier, but I think and either of them playing demo is definitely a step down from Bull. I mean, at least from a DM perspective. So, I mean, and he's a pretty smart player. I don't think he's going to be like completely helpless or anything, but Bull's like sheer DM really provided a lot for KND. So that is going to be a factor. Although we don't know yet if it's going to be for the entire game, I believe, because Bull could still show up at any minute. I think that's just how they're starting. We'll see how that goes, listeners. But
yeah, and Etney does at least have the advantage of having played with Nursey for I don't even know how many seasons at this point. So there is going to be a little bit of coordination there that might help to kind of bridge the gap. But yeah, I would expect Bull to come back in this match sometime, especially if they drop the first half or so. Since I believe he was just making a quick errand to go pick something up, so I can't imagine he'd be gone for too long.
And you actually. You mentioned Nursey, and I think that's going to be a big element, especially with so many players missing on KND. I mean, Nursey's already, just about everyone knows, like one of the best medics in TF2, probably already in TF2 history, and definitely the best Highlander medic active at this moment. And I mean, she already had the ability, to put out really aggressive heals and sort of muster her troops forward when they had, DM all-stars like Eric, like Bull. But with all these changes, especially some downgrades just in a pure deathmatching department, you feel like Nursey is going to have like a heroic game where she dies very few times, to get the edge here. So look forward to seeing if Nursey can pull that off. I'm expecting if KD pulls it out for Nursey to have some pretty impressive death statistics.
Yeah, I mean, normally her KDs are very strong. One of the few mids that you'll see going positive quite frequently is due to the positioning she has. And yeah, having that, not having all of the players there could be a downside for her, but depending on how strong she's calling and I guess how in the game she is, she could definitely help to mitigate a lot of the losses just by being that strong caller, unifying the team around her and rallying the troops as you said. So it does look like the teams are only going to or the teams will be readying up fairly soon. So we should hopefully be live in just a bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering how you think this is going to go, Alto. Like, what are you feeling for predictions? Not to put you on the spot, but just wondering.
I want to give Fast Forward credit and say that if this roster persists throughout the match, I think I might call it a 2-1 for Fast Forward.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking 2-1 for Fast Forward if the roster persists, 2-1 for KND if Bull comes back after the first round. That was kind of the sweet spot I was going toward. Because I do think that he does make a pretty big difference. I mean, to switch to someone, and I know they did this on Heavy, but to switch to someone who doesn't main the class, who might not have that level of DM, I mean, at the highest levels, that can be what separates things, whether Uber just does like a little bit more damage here versus there. As it looks like we're starting with Fast Forward on the offense. What are you expecting to see from them this early on, Alto?
I'm not expecting overly much. I mean, first point is it's a throwaway, so it will be a little while before we can see anything coming out. Crits are an option that I know Fast Forward has run in the past. It looks like they are on Uber right now, I believe. So nothing yet, but as we all know, there is quite a lot of time for the cart to go from first into the tunnel. Could be time to switch off to that. Otherwise, I'd like to see that, Jarati Soldier sack that a lot of teams have been running into upper just to maybe try to get some pressure and force out Nursey, considering that the players protecting her in that upper area aren't going to be as well practiced as their mains would have been.
And there is a bit of a crit sticky carpet up top left that Etney has put up. Let's see if anything can happen with that. It looks like nothing so far. And pretty slow take here, no incredibly early sacks or anything. Fast Forward just muscling their way through, getting some spam on the gun. They do take down Space Ghost, which is actually a pretty big pick, but they lose their demo in return. I mean, that's not going to be a huge consequence. It's going to be up very soon with these payload attacking timers, but yeah, this looks like a pretty standard first point so far.
Yeah, and one just big thing I do want to put emphasis on is that Fast Forward, did get out, they killed Space Ghost, and they got the card up, and, it may seem like just versus the throwaway point, but if your sniper is, staying up, he can get 1, 2, maybe even 3 kills and deny that cart cap by 10 seconds, which can definitely matter. So we see a 47-second cap coming out on the first, which is certainly fine. Looks like Fast Forward will be motioning towards upper right now. Try to maybe get something done. Satan goes down, maybe just going in for a second. Space Ghost gets stabbed again, actually,
yeah,
so no
huge.
sniper here. Demento coming in, will take out Spamfest on cart, though. Looks like Wish is not going to be long for this world. Nope, gets out. Just a little bit of HP.
And you can see
the
experience from Exile. As soon as Space Ghost went down, you can see he wants to motion his troops to go into tunnels and give Fallen Lord some shots, It might take a teensy bit longer than an Uber trade, but, it's pretty reliable, whereas you can get completely stuffed in the other way. So seems like they want to give Fallen Lord a little bit of room. As I say that, they've actually turned around, and I guess they ran a little bit out of time, so they do end up trading Ubers up top. They do get the gun, that's pretty huge, but Etney does retaliate with a kill on Satan. Exile does manage to stay alive though, and let's see how they reapproach this fight.
Yeah, they probably rotated out because the sniper did respawn. Swiftwater second being an infamously difficult point to counter snipe into because you really only have 2 angles for the offensive sniper, and the defensive sniper can be, you know, anywhere on the map. So very difficult, but looks like other than that gun going down, not too much is going to happen. Bunch of kills going down at the same time, though, so it looks like a really nice collapse.
I happen to catch that, actually, Alto. It was a really nice dual aggression by Unicorn and Scissor in tunnels, just going at the exact same time and really clearing out that cart path. It's good to get a little bit aggressive once your Uber has been that successful, you know, use that like time where they're regrouping to maybe clear out tunnel, delay the cart. The teams that have a really long hold on this point tend to be the ones who, every time they fend off the other team's Uber, like just clear everything out and don't let them get an advantage anywhere on the map.
Yeah, a lot of teams like to put so much emphasis on that upper hull, but, you know, really one Pyro who knows what he's doing can kind of solo hold that until the Ubers come out. Dongo actually going to get caught out in the staircase, it looks like, going for something, I believe, but that tunnel control really is vital, because if you just, doesn't matter if you lose upper, you know, if you lose upper, but you still have your flank still as tunnel, just rotate your combo in there, something that we've seen DK do in past seasons, and something I'm sure KND would be prepared to do if it came down to it, but it looks like their upper hold's been very strong so far, although both teams do have Ubers, so we'll likely see a push soon.
Fallen Lord does get Scissor, which is a pretty good pick. Demento's trying to put some pressure on the cart as we do see the Ubers come in. And we hear the contra, but really, or is that the Italian?
Nursey dropped the Dongo.
Oh, wow. That's huge. I didn't realize Nursey was trying to milk that long. It could have gone really well, but instead it's almost exactly the opposite. They still held on for now, though, due to the banner being popped by Unicorn Wizard. But let's see, can anything be done, or is Figsy just going to have to wait for this 30% ad? You would have liked to have seen them gotten back in right away, but I guess they were down a lot of players.
Yeah, their card pushers went down a lot too, so there really wasn't too much for them to push the actual card up in that, you know, during that Uber fight. Dongo back in up top, will go in for a step, gets caught out by Blake though. Almost got him, but Unicorn Wizard and Scratchy going down, so with Scratchy down, that's going to be no guns. Etney going down as well, as it looks like Fast Forward has taken the upper area under control right now. There is an exit telly on the bottom of the stairs that we may see some lead to some shenanigans if it doesn't get discovered. But it looks like Figsy will actually have Uber right now, and yeah, about a 50% ad. They're going to roll right into third right now. Figsy playing safe, Unicorn Wizard probably caught out here. Yeah, it looks like Satan will probably take him out. Yeah, gets him with the reflect, as the card will continue rolling up right now. Space Ghost will take out Exile, so
that's
no
huge.
Demo on this, but it looks like the cap will go down regardless.
As Del Dongo comes in through spawn and gets, and actually both Spyro and Etney have been the 2 precipitating kills for a lot of these pushes in both the push that 1 second and that push right there on third, and you really start to see possibly their inexperience or rustiness in Spyro's case, because they were the ones who, in a non-Uber situation, as Del Dongo going huge again, I'm sorry to interrupt myself, but this might be a lost fourth pretty quickly even.
Figsy was forced to use Uber there though, and Nursey does have right now, and with really only those 3 players down and the shorter spawns you get on defense on Swiftwater 4th, I doubt it'll be just that quick of a push with the current stands. It looks like Nursey's getting aggressive. Satan's gonna go down, so will Spamfest. Nursey's really aggro right now with Scissor in the yard, not actually using it, still holding on, as frags keep going in KND's favor. So yeah, Fast Forward is gonna have to back out into this choke back towards their spawn. Fallen will take out Space Ghost though, so a really big pick once they get numbers to repush off of.
Yeah, that was great work by the pick classes of KND to like not even have to use Uber to force the other team back by getting the demo. But yeah, we do have that sniper advantage. Just for a second, let's see what Fallen can do while these Ubers are being traded. Looks like not a huge amount happening, but Triple does manage to sneak in and get Unicorn. I'm interested in seeing how he does, knowing he's switching over to Heavy for the first time in a little while, but he's seemed pretty good so far. And the counter Uber comes in and takes down Figsy. That's huge, but this is still not over. The health is not great for KND. Let's see what can happen here.
Yeah, it wasn't really even an Uber trade, as Nursey just milked it throughout the entirety. Dongo gonna come in and get Blake, as Fast Forward and Spamfest had really good card pressure throughout all of this, so despite technically losing the Uber fight, they'll win the objective one, capping the card in 5 minutes and 45 seconds, which is altogether a pretty decent time going through 4th, but last can be one of the biggest issues on this map, especially into a team that is well coordinated, but KND really not looking like one of those teams right now, so Fast Forward may be able to get a really good time if they can push this card in quickly.
And really nice work overall by Del Dongo in the last couple of points. You feel like he's had some really key stabs at important times, and his team has really pushed off of them. A lot of these fights have been won not with the Ubers, but in the non-Uber fights, thanks to his stabs, giving his team like a 1 or 2 number advantage. And those are the type of things that the well-drilled team has to do in order to like win one of these matchups.
Yeah, Rain gonna go in for a sack. Will get in deep, gets a rocket onto Nursey, but will go down. Actually running the man treads there to sack into the gun. So a really good choice by him. One of my favorite weapons. I've been victimized by it quite a few times if you've been following some of the happenings in UGC over the past couple of seasons. But a worthwhile effort. Didn't get too much though. But one thing I do want to talk on is how you said that Fast Forward's winning the non-Uber fights. It was actually the exact same thing against Irene last week, where they would tend to lose the Uber fights, but once the Ubers ended, they were really good at winning those post fights with some really nice collapses. So Fast Forward showing a strength, but Ubers will come out right now. Exile's going to be trying to use Inspire, doing a really good job stuffing it. Nursey will get forced though, but ultimately this Uber will get the gun and nothing else, as it looks like not too much is going to happen. Spyro running in will take out Satan actually, but well, it ends up being a trade kill, as not too much is happening.
Yeah, you would have liked to see maybe Fast Forward, as soon as they got the gun, try to rotate, find a different way to get in. They sort of ended up getting stuffed in the same choke. And Figsy goes down to a body shot from Space Ghost. I don't know how that happened, but that's very unfortunate. That could delay them for a really long time here. You'd like to see maybe the rest of them go for like a sack or something right now? I mean, they have nothing to lose while Figsy's dead, but it seems like they're just going to hold on, and Nursey's going to have an Uber advantage. Let's see if they can use that or if they just have to hold and wait.
Yeah, there's not even a level 3 up as Scratchy has switched up the mini, so you'd think sacking just through cart, kind of like what Rain did before. And actually, we do have Bolt joining the server, so he is in spectator right now, and I assume the next time KND dies or Unicorn Wizard dies, they'll probably switch out. So we will be having that main player come back, and at a good time too, as depending on how long KND can hold this, whether or not it's a strong time or a weaker one, will definitely be a result of that. I'm losing my words.
And this can definitely be a situation where the defense racks up a long time when you're getting frustrated and you want to make something happen on offense, but you go a little too far forward while Red still has that Uber advantage. I mean, if Nursey notices, if Nursey does get forced, are they close enough to punish Figsy here? That's the question.
It doesn't look like it, not so far. The battalions will get popped out by Unicorn Wizard right now, but looks like he's just going to hold it now, maybe waiting for the fast forward push to come in, as Figsy will use it. Looks like they're going to be going in through their right side. Spyro in on this, trying to stop, doing a good job, but Nursey will go down to Satan actually. Mento stabbing triple out on card, so frags are being traded right now, but it looks like KND has a very slight advantage, and that's turning into a bigger one, as it looks like we have a pause, I think, to get Bull into the server.
Yeah, and I just want to say, whatever happened to force Nursey there was huge, because Nursey and Co had the opportunity, if they noticed how far forward KND was on the right-hand side of lobby, to maybe push into them with the scout and demo and try to catch them out before the Uber. But instead of even having that chance, they actually got forced very far away. And then it was actually Fast Forward who had an Uber advantage to push into this last. It's still not over yet, though. And it actually does look like the fight's reversing a little bit. I thought that was going a little bit better, but I'm actually looking at the console right now, and I realized that Demento got a triple revolver kill on Wish, Figsy, and Exile, which I actually didn't notice in the moment. So,
yeah.
Stupid me, but good for Demento.
Yeah, I didn't notice either. He can be really deadly with that thing. It's just so powerful,
yeah.
When you sit in the back of a fight and just clean up those low HP people.
For sure. When you have your sniper functioning like a mini scout, it can count as an extra number that you wouldn't normally have in a fight if the other spy is, just lurking around.
Yeah, but Fastword just kind of running it on cards. Satan and Dodongo are going to get it really close, so it's not yet on that little downward sloping point of the track. Demento in a good position, will stab triple, so no more card presence coming out of that, but Blake's going to get traded out, so no heavies right now. We will have Nursey on a slight ad over Figsy.
Rain
goes in and
Nursey.
actually takes out Nursey. Yeah, that's one of the downsides of having those mini sentries, is that, you're not able to get that knock onto anyone trying to walk in from that, I guess, right side from the defense perspective. Uber will come out. They're just going main with it right now. Looks like that mini sentry won't be long for the world. Spire going to draw down, gets wrangled down by Spamfest level 3 on card. No one actually able to cap it in yet, as it's a scramble. Nursey's going to go down, and Fast Forward will cap it in 10 minutes.
Not the very best time, not the worst either, but still a very, very good hold from KND, given how quickly they lost 3 and 4, which are probably the two hardest points to cap on this map. So, very good last hold by them, and I hate to drag a player under the bus who, maybe a little rusty, hasn't played a while, but, Spyromancer was alive and seemed pretty close to Nursey when that soldier bombed in. I realized that you mentioned the mini sentries possibly being a problem there, but you'd expect a single soldier bomb to be a little more denied than that in that moment.
Yeah, and calling it a bomb is a little bit
disrespectful to the man treads.
Well, just gracious. No, he didn't bomb. He just walked in from the top side and just literally walked into Nursey and just wasn't stopped. Which, you know, as a med, I get it. It happens a lot. You know, I've been on the receiving end of that for a long time, and yeah, that rust may be showing through a little bit. Just not aware of how important it is to watch that top side.
For sure, and yeah, I was actually very impressed that KND managed to fight back in some of those situations. I mean, I know they had the defender's advantage on last, but there were a couple situations where it seems like things could have gone the other way with Nursey dropping or being forced, and they actually managed to fight back for a pretty long time. So, good job by KND, and let's see how things go on the other side now that I believe Bull is back in the server. Unicorn says he bids farewell, Etney back on Soldier. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, so Memphis actually with a really early gun gonna juggle Bull up into the stratosphere and take him down. So a really nice little bit preemptive play by Spamfist. Unfortunately, 3 players are gonna go down though, as Etney's able to just kind of clean up house on the people playing in front of Tunnel. So that will sound the early retreat from Fast Forward. Demento a little bit on their tails, calling it. Exile actually looking to maybe get back in. Yeah, put up a bit of a forward trap. Ultimately, not going to be too much. Space Ghost behind him will go down to the Dongo, so Spy saving his Demo Man in a bit of an odd position right there, but it looks like we will have standard holds coming into second.
And right there you see for sure like how much of a difference it can make when KND gets a couple of their main classes back, you know. Coordinated aggression between Bull and Etney right there, you know, both of them knowing how each other plays so well, knowing that Bull is just going to hold W, you have to capitalize on it, that's what he does, you know. They get a pretty quick take of first, which as you mentioned, those couple seconds could matter. So we'll see what happens.
With a 10-minute time, you think maybe not as much as if it was a 6 or 7 minute time, but you know, you never know. Payload has can be wild as we still have both teams sitting on full Uber. Lots of players for KND and Upper right now, including Space Ghost.
Yeah, they're trying to give their sniper a shot here. Let's see if they can do anything with that. Satan does go down, which is pretty big, and Etney is sacking in. He gets some nice rockets on, and actually, but yeah,
Will Force.
Beautiful. With Satan dead, there was no one to deny that. That was great teamwork again. As soon as Satan goes down, how do you stop that soldier from getting off a couple of quick rockets? You know, it's really difficult.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what Triple was doing there, because Etney survived for a really long time when Figsy actually forced. He didn't have any rockets, saw him pull out the sign. So Noah
yep.
probably could have been denied, but...
I guess you're seeing the inexperience of people
yeah.
who aren't originally used to that class. It's not the DM. We know Triple has good DM. It's just he wasn't ready for that exact
will
situation.
Come out though, gonna get denied by Satan a little bit, but he does get headshot as it looks like Fast Forward has backed out of Upper. Spy will come in, take out Exile, so no Demo Man on this is gonna be big. Cart's still extremely far back as Rain's got a very aggressive position in Tunnel right now, actually hiding, waiting to ambush someone on Cart. Etney will jump in and Rain goes in for an ambush. Will run into the 1v4 though, but takes out Etney, so slowing the card a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't look like Fast Forward has anyone left in second to actually defend it. Space Ghost with a high ground to zone off the spawn.
Yeah, really nice work by KND, and you have to give props to the Mento, who seems to be coming up really huge, especially on Exile. Exile is like probably like 50% of the damage of Fast Forward in some of these fights, you know, given the amount of heals he gets and how aggressive and, you know, the spearhead of the team he is, you know. So if you take him out that early into a fight, you know, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, and second on Swiftwater can definitely be hard if you don't have tunnel control. You know, you have to imagine if Exile doesn't go down, they're able to contest that from that choke. But Demento will secure his team the kill here, and Uber will actually come out. Bull gonna jump in, force Figsy.
Wow.
And frags are all going in KND's favor. Bull can land some really nice pipes combined with any spam. Spyro the only casualty on KND right now, and it looks like that's just gonna force Fast Forward to give up third.
Yeah, and again, here we see the combination of Bull's incredibly aggressive, good DM playstyle and Nursey's really reliable medicing. You know, Bull knew he could bomb in like that and Nursey would save him. And
there
there was
goes
so
the
much
other
of a flex.
side. There goes the other side of that aggressive playstyle as Bull gets really aggro alone into fourth, and will get taken out by Rain, or Wish, excuse me, and Scout. But Triple will come in and get the Triple. Demento will come in and stab Triple as Wish goes down as well. So frags in KND's favor. Bull already respawning. Cart's getting a lot of ground, and as Etney gets to go put some aggressive damage down. Demento now coming in and stabbing Fallen. No sniper, no heavy or Fast Forward though. So Cart time is going in KND's favor. Yeah, it looks like Fast Forward not being able to really make much of a hold here either, as KND is steamrolling through these points.
And for all the times, you know, Bull could have chosen to feed, that was a pretty inconsequential one, you know, on offense right before his team was about to push, came up in time. And as we say that, you know, he's doing a huge amount of damage, he's back up. The Uber's actually better from KND despite them being on offense, and we'll see if they can just get the card off of this. There is a pretty good hold going on by Fast Forward. They're doing a ton of damage. Rain with a really good bomb. But Demento takes down Figsy. That's enormous.
Rain did go in and get Nursey though, and the cart was inches, not even inches, pixels away from being capped, but will roll down the hill. So with both meds dead and those shorter defense spawn times, Figsy won't even be at that much of a dis-add. Maybe sitting on, actually no, a slight add on Nursey right now by about 1%. So even Ubers and Cart didn't get up the hill, so could see Fast Forward maybe reset here, but Bull's getting aggressive. Will get taken out by Dildongo though, huge step from him. Sizz on Cart, gonna be forced off, and we may be seeing the reset here.
Yeah, really nice play by Dildongo. Actually, it's a crits on Nursey. I just noticed that. That could be huge if they build this properly. You think they're actually going to try to take second, or fourth rather, without even getting that crits into play, and they are. They're being very aggressive, which I like. Those faster respawns, they know neither team has Uber, they know the gun is down, you know. There's no reason not to just get in there, and they do. Now they have a crits advantage pushing last. This comes down to how ready Fast Forward is for this. If they get caught unawares, they're not very far away from the crit stickies, but if they're ready for it, you know, it's pretty hard to get through these chokes.
Yeah.
So let's see what breaks down.
Definitely. Nursey will have Uber, or crits used, excuse me. Exile and Triple will go down. Vixie's going to be able to kite out the rest of this 99% Uber on her. So her and Satan will be able to get, they're using dropping down on Cart. Satan's kind of getting bounced around a little bit by Spyro, but the Cart does seem to be held for now. Scratchy's still in there, so is Space was dropping down, but no! The two of them get blown off of it, and KND will cap and take the first half with 4.5 minutes remaining.
And you see just the beauty. As soon as Bull gets there, KND breaks out this incredibly aggressive playstyle. I mean, I know they're on offense, that changes as well, but, you know, just this ability to understand that in Highlander, you know, just like in Sixes, it's all about the numbers game, you know? If you're 9v7 up, it doesn't matter, you know, if there's a sentry in your way. It doesn't matter if, you know, it's kind of hard to push into them if you're scared of their sniper. If you guys all just aggress at the same time and you have a medic like Nursey putting out heals, you know, good things can happen. We saw that crits, you know, they didn't get the medic. The Uber did come out, but they took out so many players and they just did not relent. They just rotated, avoided the Uber, which was only on a pyro. I just recollapsed 9v6 and just smushed them, you know? And this is exactly what you like to see.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to bring up is the first thing I want to talk on, as we're probably getting logs up. I haven't actually seen them yet, but I do want to talk about the snipers, is just hitting tab, falling on the bottom of the scoreboard for Fast Forward right now, which I think kind of maybe encapsulates this game as a whole. Just, you know, their inability to really gain any, or I guess their inability to stop KND from just gaining momentum. I mean, that was probably a 5.5 minute time, which is really strong, you know, in any situation. The fact that Bull was just kind of coming in as well maybe makes that a little bit more impressive as well. And, you know, they're being so aggressive, especially you saw that on fourth, where it looked like, you know, they traded meds, they were going to be able to reset, but now KND just disrespects them, runs up onto Cart, and really just forces the cap without even letting Fast Forward hold. So,
and if you look at the stats from that round, you know, Bull's stats don't look insane because he only came in the second half, but in that much faster second round, he had pretty much double the damage of any player on Fast Forward, and significantly more than Exile, who only had 1 kill because he kept getting backstabbed in those crucial moments, and there really wasn't time for momentum to come in for Fast Forward to get a good hold on any point. So, really nice aggression from KND, just not letting up the pace. Both Spies having a really good first round as well. I want to shout out both of them. I feel like they've actually had more impact than the Snipers as far as pick classes go, which is not something you always say, but, you know, I really felt like both Demento and Dildongo did a good job in that round.
Yeah, both of them really coming in with those kind of key clinching picks that help their team get those points, you know. Dildongo getting a few when his team was pushing, where, like, a lot of the times when you have really strong coordinated teams like KND, just because you get maybe a numbers advantage, if, you know, maybe you kill an engineer or a pyro or something, you're like, all right, we've got a 98, but those advantages tend to not matter against the better teams because they're able to play around that and play in a very coordinated way to minimize that loss. So you may think, oh, it's a 9v7, Fast Forward's going to win this push. That doesn't always necessarily happen until Dongo is coming in and getting those, you know, heavy picks or those, you know, engineer picks or whatever he was getting that, you know, they're just kind of those coup de grace kills that really put the nail in the coffin for those points. Unfortunately for Fast Forward, that wasn't enough, as they weren't able to really hold KND the same way they were held.
Now, there are two things I want to bring up farther about the stats or about the game so far. First of all, I hate to call a specific player out, but despite his team winning the round, Spyromancer had a really rough time just looking at the stats. So his total damage was about the same as an ODB damage per minute stat. So he needs to pick it up a little bit. But, you know, if he's doing his job, I guess, you know, hopefully he can shut down the Spy a little bit more than if he has to play more of a passive style. But I'd like to see a little bit more from Spyromancer. And then the other thing about Bull, you know, I was praising him a lot, and for good reason, right? His aggression was like really winning these fights along with like really good pipe aim. But it is important to note that the consequences, if any of those aggressive moments go wrong on defense, are a lot higher than on offense. On offense, you get another chance. On defense, it can lose you a whole point, which is a lot bigger than just losing a single push on offense. So you'd like to see if he can, find a happy medium on defense. Him and Nursey together, because, Nursey is such a mechanically skilled medic who can keep him alive in a lot of situations. But you'd like to see if Bull can have a good balance where he's not getting picked off in really crucial situations, but is still pumping out a ton of damage.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. It kind of felt like Etney being maybe the brains of the operation and Bull being the brawn, kind of coming in on the respective rounds to min-max the playstyle. I mean, obviously, I think you'd want Bull on both halves, but I think the converse of having Etney on offense versus Etney on defense, it ends up being in the favor of KND. We do have one team readied up, Spamfest in spec right now, but going forward into the second round, Mr. I want to get your opinions on what you think Fast Forward could do to really kind of swing the momentum here and take a round back in their favor.
Well, one thing I noticed is I felt like their combo, or at least all the players playing around their combo, like, they have a ton of players who play like in a blob together, which is part of the reason why so many of their non-Uber pushes are so beautiful, right? But when Bull came into the server, him and Nursey were taking these really aggressive, like almost solos, maybe one other guy in, where Bull was basically bombing or like charging straight forward and hitting a lot of things. And it felt like, I don't know if it was on Figsy, I don't know if it was on Exile, or if it was on all those other players there, or just the team as a whole not expecting it, but they were not able to flash enough players or keep enough players alive. Like, there were always players during the Uber who were getting caught out un-Ubered. So you'd like to see them not taken by surprise. We know that Bull's going to play that way. So either those players have to just get the hell out of there and let Exile take a counter trade and just hold them off, or they need to all get flashed and like just surround him or something. But like they in these Uber v Uber fights, they should not lose as many people as they do.
Yeah, definitely true. You think about that Uber there where he had on third, where he pretty much just jumped in alone, killed killed two people, did enough damage for any to kill a third, and that's exactly that kind of aggression we're talking about. The crits on defense again right now. Exile putting some little suspicious stickies right near the spawn gate. I don't know if you can see those right by the cart. Not sure who those are supposed to catch out, but we will be seeing those again. Spamfest again with the aggressive gun on first, so gonna have to see if their first hold might be able to, milk a little bit more time. We saw them kill Bull very quickly before, which was good, but then 3 players dropped to Etney and Scissor, which really not so good. So have to see if they can improve on this, maybe by even 20-30 seconds on first. Could be the difference.
I like this cute little pick that Fallen Lord's going for. Let's see if he can pull anything up with that. Probably not. I'm gonna assume the Spy or Scout or Soldier's gonna check in there, but hiding by the tire, kind of funky.
Not too bad. Actually, it's funny that now that he's on Fast Forward as Waterson, Fast Forward Sniper last season was kind of the first person to do this. Again, the victim. Oh, but Demento's gonna catch him out! Jumps down, and he's gonna get in on him and stab him, and wow. That's so unfortunate.
I said I thought it would be the Spy that checked in, and I'm not surprised, because Demento knows all those little tips and tricks. He's the kind of player who definitely does his due diligence in checking hiding spots, so great pick by him.
Yeah, Demento actually bringing up in chat, Waterson did that to us, we're not going to let you do it twice.
He's been watching the film like an Alto linebacker, he knows exactly the other team's tendencies.
Yeah, and there will be a couple going down on Fast Forward. Exile actually had a really clever sticky trap in tunnel, but it was found out by Scratchy, so some sneaky strats it looks like Fast Forward's trying to employ here. Ultimately, none of them working. The attempt is good, though, as Bull will start spamming the upper. Spyro's going to be pretty close in, will get taken down by Satan, though, as Etney's going to get in as well, but Figsy actually changed where she was holding in between the rounds, so that one rocket not even going to have a chance of forcing her, so good adaptation.
Spyro died so early in that, unlike the first time where he did a great job as Bull gets headshot, but the first time around, I think Triple was mostly focusing on the Pyro, which is part of what let you get in there, but this time Triple was literally just staring at him, so good job, and Bull going down there, we see his aggression, it's not a huge deal because the rest of the team had died already, so we do see a soldier pick going on behalf of Etney on a rain in the cart. That can be, surprisingly big, as Etney is now getting an opportunity to spam the gun.
Yeah, but Jacob coming in and sapping that, it will result in the gun going down. Jacob's going to get out as well, so not really being capitalized on cart time yet, as actually Wish is going to go in and just assassinate Space Ghost. burning out as Etney goes down to Dongo, which should allow Spamfest to rebuild their gun in peace, but the Uber Tread goes out in upper right now. Satan doing a really good job stuffing this. Nursey will take out a little bit of damage, but ultimately escapes. So no frags, but that favors the defense right now. So Fast Forward definitely looking a little bit regrouped and refreshed right now, as they're pretty, excuse me, they're getting a pretty decent hold set up here.
Yeah, Old Man Satan really warming up. You know, he's holding this choke down pretty well. Him and Figs, you know, have a great chemistry, and I think they're doing a lot here. As we see Bull going down again, his aggression not really paying off here. Now that it seems like it took a round or two, or a round or so, and sadly it was a very winnable round, but it was a round for Fast Forward to adjust to it, and it seems like they're slowly starting to realize, okay, this guy's just going to keep running at us. We have to be ready for it.
Yeah, and one thing you mentioned about Satan shutting down that choke was, in the last round when they were on defense, he actually got killed by Sticky Spam very early. Uber's gonna get forced though, super early from Nursey. Satan getting in there. Fixie doesn't actually have yet, so some good building going on. Satan will go down. Blake on the How Long Heater. Dodongo going down as well, but with Figsy sitting close to Uber right now, they're hesitant about how to push this. Bull will get in, pipe Figsy once, force her to drop down and back out, but she should be coming up on Uber soon. No one to heal, only at 92. Frags will go over to Spamfest's gun, though, taking out Bull and Spyro. Rain popping a banner and tunnel, running forward with that conch. Etney will get the jump on him, though, but he should be able to trade with Scissor. Does that, and fortunately for Fast Forward, this ends up with them having full Uber head.
When Figsy was trying to hop back up onto the staircase, I was so nervous that Space Ghost would choose that exact moment to peek, but luckily that was not the case, as he does go down now. And let's hope they realize that Nursey has Uber again already. Nice kills by Wish, by the way, on a 9 kill streak. He's been doing a really good job holding this. As we see the Uber come in by Nursey, but Figsy counters has a much longer Uber. You'd like to see them be able to do something really positive with this.
Yeah, KND did rotate tunnel before that. Bull actually won't go down. We'll get forced back, but Space Ghost going down means no sniper for this post fight, allowing the Fast Forward combo members to kind of play out on this bridge. So
yeah.
Hold still going strong. Nursey slight ad on Figsy, probably going to build that up into a medium ad, as anytime you play against Nursey, you have to assume she's just going to have 10% more than any other med would, due to how well she's able to build. Exile getting stabbed out at, I think that was by Spawn. So Satan going down as well. That Pyro's the big kind of stopgap for that upper area. Gonna sound the retreat. Jacob coming in, won't find anything, but forces out the Fast Forward combo here. So a good hold from them. Definitely better than anything they had in the last round. 4.5 minutes is almost how long it took KND to push all 5 points in the first half. So a step up for them.
You felt like the first time around, as we see Dodongo going for Nursey and Bull. Oh. That was insane. And Spyro.
Oh, and Spyro can't even get the revenge frag. Coming in, takes out Scratchy and Scissor. Blake out of their 20 HP takes down Dodongo the Tyrant, but not before losing his own life to Wish.
This is the problem with 6 spy highlights, you know? It's kind of like a 1v5 in Counter-Strike, you know? It's always a little bit of the other team's fault, you know? And I felt like they definitely should have been able to shut down Dodongo, at least after the medic pick, if not before it, given the fact that a Pyro was standing right there. But, you know, you have to take the chances you've been given, and he did an incredible job of doing so. So, great work by Dodongo.
Yeah, I like what the Fast Forward flank is doing right now, too, though they both were up there. Spamfest actually has her gun really far back in choke, maybe watching for those drop-downs from uppers. Rain playing on top of the awning just to get really good card denial. The Uber will come out and get forced by Fast Forward, though. Demento going to get chased back into 4th. So Uberhead will be in the favor of Nursey right now. And Spamfest's gun not denying a whole lot of cart so far back.
I'm not sure how I feel about this, because you want to make sure Nursey gets forced really early here, and if they realize how far back the gun is, you know, especially if they can figure out fall motive.
Space Ghost was scoping on the combo, Rain drops off the awning, and Space Ghost just kills him like the second he drops down, like something out of a horror movie. Scissor and Nursey gonna use Uber, popped really early, not expecting the combo to be on the lower area. Triple gonna go down, but Blake and Spyro are the trade frags, and it looks like Fast Forward is winning this in numbers, if not positioning. Their flank will collapse in on cart, though. Wish doing a really good job of just stalling with Dodongo. Dongo actually stabs Jacob and pulls out a Spy Crab, as the rest of Fast Forward comes in with one of those collapses we talked about earlier.
Oh, he was dead rendering well on the Spy Crab. That's a cop-out. But anyways, no, I think the problem there was KND didn't scout the setup ahead of time and was not ready. If they knew the gun was that far back, you think they would have maybe tried to walk in a little farther, not use as early, and that their rest of their team wouldn't run so cavalierly to the cart, where the gun got like a 2K or a 3K in and of itself. we know Spamfest is a really smart entity who pulls out great plays, but, you know, you'd like to see KND be a little more ready for something like that, and they were not.
Yeah, it felt a bit like a comedy of errors just during that entire push where they didn't know the gun was that far back. They didn't know Fast Forward was playing on the ground, leading to about maybe 30% of that Uber being wasted, but they try to edge card and just Fast Forward again runs in. Don't kill Nursey, so Uber will still be in the favor of Fast Forward.
It was a bit of a sack, yeah. I think they understood that they had time until the Ubers were built. I don't think that was... It didn't work out for KND, but I don't think it was that risky to try that. As a lot of the players, like, the combo of Fast Forward just seems so much more together on this second defensive half. Like, Exile has more support from Triple, Satan, Figsy. Like, they all seem to be clicking a little bit more. And KND needs to get a plan D pretty soon because these pushes have not been going very well for them.
Yeah, honestly, it looks like the two teams have swapped. Uber will come out right now. Exile's going to get caught out, playing super far forward. Triple going down as well, but Blake and Spyro are the counter frag. Wish has the way better Uber and will clean this up quite nicely. Nursey escaping into second, but more frags being traded. The gun actually is able to block cart now. Scratchy going to hide behind it. We'll get it really close, but no, Fixie goes down to Space Ghost, getting in up on the awning. So Deldongo still denying cart. Gonna be forced off it by Etney, it looks like, as Exile has respawned. So no cap yet, but Blake pulls out the fists and looks like he should... No, Exile had been trapped on the card. Yeah. Blake will go down. Etney goes down to 6-2. Jacob getting hit really low. Triple denying this as best as he can. Takes out the combat sandwich.
And Exile gets him spawned just in time. That was actually so well played by him. He delayed it for just long enough. Despite Figsy having a way longer spawn than the rest of her team, I thought that that could lead to a huge overextension, but Exile barely gets out. Really well played by him.
Yeah, a bit of a frantic defense, but 8.5 minutes through third, which is the ideal time. You could not ask for a better time coming into fourth. Nursey will have a very slight Uber advantage, it looks like, as, no, not even. It looks like Figsy's outpacing her, actually, right now. So, good building on Fast Forward side, and they're getting up with this a bit of a forward aggressive hold right now. Scratchy in the house getting a mini setup is going to force this back for now, but ultimately I'm glad Fast Forward's able to really kind of get out on the ledge and put a little bit more forward pressure into KND, rather than just holding back at the bottom of the ramp like they did last half, which led to them losing fourth so quickly.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet, I'm trying to figure out, okay, KND is going for a really nice play on the gun. They do manage to get the sentry, it was just a sack. And they get the force out, actually. Yeah, that was really good. I was worried Nursey would think she had an ad, but luckily she didn't. I mean, I guess I should expect Nursey to be able to count really well, but give it... So, looking at that, you know, they have the Uber advantage now. If they can get past Fallen Lord and Deldongo and get a good Uber in here, you know, as Deldongo goes into the stab on Bold just as the Uber flash comes in, so he can't get that going. But, there's still a pretty good defense being held on. Exile's doing a lot of damage. This is anyone's fight, and I think it's edging it Fast Forward right now.
Yeah, they do still have that gun up, which is going to be a big impediment for KND pushing. Bull on cart. Blake really low by the rock as cart time will go up. Actually, it looks like Fast Forward playing a little bit back here.
Yeah, they lost
picks up her gun, and it looks like they're going to give this up.
It looks like Wish and Rain overextended just a little bit too much because they both died on the flank, and then suddenly Exile was overextended. He gets body shot and just instantly down 3 heavy hitters in Soldier Scout and Demo, you know, pretty much over.
I want to point out, too, that in the beginning of the season, I kind of set it up where Fast Forward's big weakness was going to be their flank, with, you know, Wish not having played too much at the top level, but Rain really coming in on Soldier, not his main class. But if you look at the scoreboard right now, you see Deldongo, Wish, and Rain all on the top of the scoreboard. Fallen, Exile, and Triple all on the bottom, so flank definitely outpacing the combo right now. Fallen did get stabbed there, which may let Fast Forward, or KND, excuse me, get a little bit more card time.
And they get the gun and the sniper. Yeah. Beautiful work by Demento, just trolling that top box. He actually did great there, and if the counter Uber from Fast Forward can clean up these kills, it'll still be worth it. They are doing a pretty good job. Triple's actually just annihilating them on that ledge. We like to see him put his tracking to good use, and he's definitely improved over the course of the game, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like all of Fast Forward has really, I mean, there's no one really that you can say isn't outperforming what they were in the first half, as Fast Forward's looking really kind of fearsome right now. 10 minutes and 11 seconds through fourth means that Fast Forward has already held KND through their own defense time last time. Granted, that was with Etney on defense, not on Bull, but things are boding well for Exile and Co.
For sure, and we see the Ubers are pretty even now. We saw some pretty creative play to take out the Sentry the last time around by KND, but it didn't end up leading them much. Let's see what they have to crack this fight with even Ubers. You know, are they going to do some sacks before they push it? Are they just going to try to trade and get the gun and repush? Are they going to just rush the cart? there's a lot of options here, but they're all pretty difficult to pull off. So let's see what KND's been cooking up right now.
Yeah, Nursey should be coming up on Uber soon, so I doubt with this much time already in, they're going to waste too much time before getting in. It looks like they will be kind of climbing in onto the that right side, defensive right side at least. Bull going to put a little bit of spam down. Jacob getting caught out by Triple, not able to have nearly as much of an impact this round as he was last time. And looks like we're just kind of in a little pre-fight stalemate right now. Wish going to get a little aggro and put some pressure onto Etney. Going to be forced back though towards the pack. Yeah, not too much going, just waiting for the pushes. Satan going down is big, because it means there won't be any air blasts. Actually, KND getting really aggro on left side, so I bet we'll be seeing Uber soon.
Yeah, as Fallen Lord goes down, this would be a pretty good time to trade Ubers, especially if they can get on the gun. The problem is it's fully wrangled up top now, and I don't think Demento's in position to sap it this time. So yeah.
Hard close, though.
Yeah, that was a bit of a tragedy, because the last time around they did a great job of getting down the sentry, but their Uber itself was pretty awful. This time around, their Uber had potential, but they couldn't even get close to the sentry, and they just all got knocked back, and it just went very poorly for them. So, do you think they're gonna panic / just get really aggressive and just zerg for the cart, given how close it is? I feel like we're gonna see some cart shenanigans.
With that much time, I'm pretty certain Jacob is calling to just get everyone on tracks and buffed up, and they're just gonna 9-man rush the cart. I know he's done that in Pugs before, and it looks like that is kind of what they're doing. Dongo going and not going to get anything. Triple going down to spam too means that heavy being down is a huge boon. And yeah, we will be seeing a lot of players just pushing main right now. Space Ghost looking to kill anyone dropping down. Fast forward, we'll begin the cart defense. Exile and others dropping down. Wish the only one down there right now. Gonna run into Blake, having to body block it. Spamfest dropping down as well. She will get taken out, but stalls it just enough for Triple to get in on card. Triple gonna be fighting off Spyro, forcing him out at really low, but Jacob's gonna go in from behind and cap the card. 14 minutes though, not the time that you want to be pushing on Swiftwater.
For sure, and I think a lot of it comes down to that third hold that they had. It seems like KND didn't really have a plan other than Bull gets Ubered in and kills everything, and when that was no longer working as well, they struggled. They did actually finally get it in the Uber where Exile was dropped, although it was extremely close, and even then, Fast Forward managed to stall them. I think we saw a lot of really good teamwork, both from like the little flank unit of Wish, Rain, and occasionally Del Dongo on Fast Forward, and then the combos in particular of Triple, Satan, and Exile and Figsy seem to be, again, much more on the same page in that round. And when KND didn't have the opportunity to just use their aggression to flat out, catch off players off guard away from the rest of their team, they struggled a little bit. And yeah, really nice work overall from Fast Forward. Now, it does have to be said, as we pointed out earlier, that the first time around, KND didn't have Bull. And you wonder how that's going to turn out, because Bull is an extremely aggressive player who can get picked off on this defense and exploit it. But if KND is consistently having the better Ubers being on defense, he can also completely shred the other team. So I'm not ready to predict what happens in this round.
Yeah, I mean, with a time that long, you have to assume that Fast Forward are at least the favorites to win it. But again, KND has definitely pulled that, long holds on other teams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Exile and Rain going in a little bit aggro here, just trying to get some spam in. Deldongo will get caught out, fortunately, so no flanking from him. Space Ghost sitting in the mouth of the tunnel right now, just trying to snipe off cart once it happens. Exile getting forward will force him back a little bit, actually, as the rest of them are going to start bailing, it looks like. Blake and Bull having dropped out towards the back of the tunnel. Looks like KND wants to just be super safe right now, not leave anything to chance, and, risk having some kind of weird mishap happen that leads them to not having a second hold. So
Demento's going for the long con here. Is he going to avoid? No, he doesn't avoid Satan there. But did he spot? Is that crits? I think it might be crits. Did I see that right?
It is crits. This is crits. Crits are going to be popped here. Going in, it looks like everyone on the KND combo is really far out. Bull will get caught, but Nursey is nowhere to be found. Not entirely sure where she is. Actually, I don't even see her on. No, she's in Spiral. I've had my spec cam on her, so
what happened?
Show up.
What happened there is, I'm pretty sure Demento called out they were on crits, but Bull and Nursey had the exact opposite reaction of how to play it. Bull wanted to stay really close and try to deny them early. Nursey wanted to hide and keep the full Uber. I think the way Nursey played it in this particular section of the map was probably correct, but the fact that her and Bull did the opposite things was not great. However, they weren't able to capitalize on it yet. They do have some picks. You'd like to see them try to do something here as soon as the Uber's over. They got the force out. Can they come back in? They have crits really soon, actually. This could be
Yeah,
huge.
Dodongo came in and killed Blake, and what was more crucial was everyone there turned around to kill him, allowing Exile to get spam onto Nursey that forced her. They are walking forward right now. Trap will be found. Crits comes out. They're going to hit Spyro for a little bit. Bull will go down again. Space will go down as well, actually. Not sure where he got sniped from, but or sniped by the crits, but it looks like KND will try to push back into Spyro right now. Etney going to get brought low, but not going to be killed.
Exile's doing so much damage.
Oh, he is, and it looks like it's going to be a collapse in for Fast Forward again, as they're able to really clean up frags, catching almost everyone on KND out on the second point. And we will see them kind of roll right into third here, which we did see in the first half, that it was on the back of a much longer second push. So really just a lot of optimizations we're seeing coming out from them, and Big Z will probably catch up to Nursey on this crits, considering that they're only about 10% behind.
And this crit seems to be the secret to breaking down what we were talking about Bull being really aggressive and Nursey trying to die as little as possible, you know? If you can catch out that demo, maybe that sniper with the crits like they did, and just use those picks, just avoid Nursey's Uber once you get those 2 kills, kite to the other side of the map, and then just own them.
Battalions and crits are out. Uber will get popped, but Big Z goes down. Scissor and Blake also going down as well, so frags are even right now. Heals are up on the side of KND, with Fallen going down, that tips the scales in their favor. So a bit of a failed push, as Nursey was able to build that Uber extremely fast, and gotta think maybe that Battalions got popped a little early, but good job nonetheless on them, able to take out Big Z. I believe she should be back up on Uber, yes, she will be. But Fast Forward is relentless right now. They're pushing this cart past the bend, which is kind of the biggest obstacle on this point until the ramp. Bull's gonna get sniped out by a chip shot from Rain as Fallen snipes out Space Ghost. So no Bull and no Space Ghost able to defend this. Wish is getting free card time right now. No one really in position to stop him other than a bomb from Etney or a stab from Jacob, who's going in right now. Wish hears him, catches him out, will kill him as well. And it looks like Fast Forward's going to have about 10 minutes to push last.
Yeah, no, this is pretty huge. And Nursey does have an Uber advantage. Is she going to attempt to use it? Probably not. As we see Wish just wreaking havoc, fighting Etney. Etney does finally go down. That's another pick in favor of Fast Forward. So Dodongo goes out, and it's almost physically impossible to hold this for 9 minutes. Even if every push fails, if you get a little bit of cap time every time, you know, that's the problem with these last
So that's the Badwater third approach back in the back before we had the pro version. But yeah,
or the
with
Borneo last approach nowadays.
Oh yeah,
for
Uber
sure.
will come out though. Even Uber's here. Spyro doing a good job denying Exile, separating him off from the combo. Satan coming in will catch out Bull again, continuing to be dropped in these Uber fights. Space Ghost goes down as well. Some of the frags are going to be evened out though, but Fast Forward does have card momentum. Blake low, gets sniped out by Fallen. Triple and Wish are going to take it in, and it will be the round in Fast Forward's favor.
Not only the round in Fast Forward's favor, but I think we could both agree, Alto, that it was much more decisive even than the first round. And looking at the stats right now, Bull ends up doing nearly as much damage as Exile in the round, but whereas Exile dies 6 times, Bull dies 17, takes almost 400 damage per minute himself, and it seems like that was both the modus operandi of Fast Forward on purpose, like what they were planning on in that round, and the thing that KND failed to reckon with, which was Bull's a very aggressive player. Not everyone else on his team is that aggressive in terms of natural tendencies. If we can catch this guy out and his team is not ready to support him, I mean, I don't want to put the blame squarely on Bull. We know that some of the situations he could have done better. I'm sure other ones his team could have done better, but I think we could say KND as a whole just completely failed to reckon with that strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of whether or not, I just want to say going forward, regardless of whether or not Fast Forward wins this third half, which I'm leaning towards them having the momentum right now, so it definitely wouldn't surprise me. Even if they don't, though, just as they kind of did with Irene, they kind of exposed them last week, I think you could say. Or even though they didn't win, they laid out a really solid groundwork of how to beat Irene, and it looks like we're seeing that with KND right now. You know, they're hitting they're kind of checking all the boxes here. They're catching Bull out. They're denying Space Ghost. Demento's not able to get anything in. You know, Scissor and Etney really aren't having that much impact. Wish is sitting on a 22-6 right now. His DPM isn't even that high, which means that he's just, you could say he's baiting a little bit, but that's kind of Scout's job. He's doing what he needs to. He's sitting back, letting the more damage-oriented players on his team do that damage, then just coming in and
in
cleaning up kills.
In general, if you sort it by deaths, you know, you see a big wall of red and then a big wall of blue, you know. Other than Nursey still only dying twice, which is actually pretty impressive considering the circumstances.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And Dodongo dying 22 times, which, you know, that's his spy playstyle, you know. Other than that, you know, you basically see a solid wall of red above blue. Every single player on blue was not dying at all in pivotal moments. Like, they were constantly, like, during the Uber trades, they wouldn't die at all. And then they, like you said, that their like repushes when they all blobbed up were really good, but you know, they have to actually be alive for that to be the case, right? And this time around, you know, they all just recollapsed at the same time, and you saw a lot of clean wipes. I mean, even in the round where KND won, you didn't see a lot of times where they like 9-0 almost wiped the other team, and you were seeing that in some of these situations. So
yeah, just some really masterful play, and I mean, some of the KDs here are pretty ridiculous. I already brought up the 22 and 6 with Wish, 15 assists for a 6.2 KDA. Spamfest 13, 15, and 4, sitting on a 7 KDA even. Like, she was. I think I do want to give a shout out to her as well, because I think that gun on third that we kind of threw a couple of question marks at was actually really good, just because of that gun is extremely hard to spam out. And once, you know, KND actually tries to get into third, it really prevents you from getting aggressive into that point and utilizing all the entrances you have, instead forcing you to really just kind of tunnel up on cart, which the fast forward flank, you know, we saw Rain and Wish sitting up on those awnings were doing a great job of playing off of. So
yeah, and
some
Spamfest,
really just smart plays.
Not only did she die that little, but she took the least damage of any non-medics in the server, which, I mean, it makes sense when you consider that, like, of that whole round, like, 3/4 of it was them on defense, and Andrews on defense take a lot less damage than Andrews on offense. But even so, you know, that's very impressive. And, you know, despite how comprehensive that round was, don't you kind of feel like KND is going to answer with something here? Like, you don't think they're going to just go out into the night that quickly, you know? You expect KND to come back with something.
I don't think a team with this many veterans is going to be able to get tilted by, you know, losing a round like that. It's, you know, maybe they're not as confident as they were, and maybe they're, I mean, who knows, maybe they're actually trying now, and they weren't really before, but I think we'll definitely see some improvements coming out of them, even if Fast Forward has the momentum, which I believe they do. I doubt we'll see a round as lopsided as the one we just saw.
Yeah, for sure. As, seems like Figsy's still on Uber. I'm watching her now, seeing if she, no, seems like still on Uber. Exile is coming out of spawn, as we see Space Ghost get a quick kill on Wish, and pretty standard stuff so far.
Yeah.
I don't think Space Ghost is getting out here, though. I think he... Ooh, take it back.
Yeah, just barely kind of hops over the rocket from Rain right now. And, yeah, a bit of a standard kind of first. We saw it last round. Exile just getting a little bit forward here, kind of forcing Space Ghost to not have as many good sightlines onto their cart pushers. So decent pace being put through first, but yeah, we're going to have to really wait until this point gets capped to see how the rest of the round's going to unfold. Back out from KND has been sounded, so they will be leaving. Wish, Spyro. Oh, Exile going to get really aggro in tunnel, takes out Spyro and Space Ghost, which, if they cap, could lead to a rush coming in through upper. No sniper.
He does go down himself, though. That's the only problem there.
That's true, yeah, but maybe, I don't know, we will hear a horn being popped somewhere. That is a Battalion's on the side of Fast Forward. Telly is up, which means Exile can take that if he's going to jump over. Spyro, though, is he going to make it into upper in time? It looks like he might barely. Actually,
and so,
no, Fast Forward in tunnel.
Yeah, this is interesting. So far, by the way, both teams have started on defense have won, which makes me happy because I always prefer to start on defense personally, but let's see what happens here. We see the not an Uber coming in through, just kind of a sack with the battalions, and so far they haven't accomplished much, but they haven't like had their medic get forced out or anything. You'd like to see them just realize that it's better to wait the extra 20 seconds for those guys to respawn than for them to overextend right now. They don't need to rush it. And yeah, they're just chilling out. Fast Forward hasn't done anything yet, really.
Yeah, bit of a interesting play. I mean, I guess nothing ventured, nothing gained, but not really sure what they were going for. With that gun being, I guess they did kill the gun there, so that's nice in that regard, but we will just kind of be seeing this standard motioning around upper that we tend to see. Uber will get popped a bit early, but Exile's going to be coming in. I would say an Uber will get popped, and it's going to be getting stuffed. Wish and Fallen went down in tunnel.
Could Fixie get out?
She will just barely, but good hold for KND.
Oh, Del Dongo. I think he was about to stab Nursey, but the Uber lasted half a second longer than he thought. He ended up stabbing an invincible medic. But yeah, really nice tunnel hold by Etney and co. Just getting so many kills, really well coordinated. That's exactly what you want to see during that Uber fight, just denying the cart. As Space Ghost takes down Exile, that's going to stall the push even more. This is a much better hold by KND.
Yeah, I'd like to see actually, we are going to hear another banner popped. It looks like that's going to be on the KND side right now in tunnel. Should be a conch that Etney has. He will get forced out of tunnel a little bit, but no frags going. He is actually, Fallen hit some with another body shot, so he will be brought low right here. Little bit of cart time going to be gained on this. Fallen could get a couple angles here, but again, nothing really happening much as Ubers will get traded out in upper. Satan's going to go and take out Bull, and Scissor gets sniped out as well. Gun going down. Fast forward getting a lot right now. Fixie going to have to escape out through tunnel, but Etney's getting forced back by Wish. Going to take him out. Satan went down in upper, I think, to Spyro, but Blake going to go down. Scratchy going to go down. Fixie gets sniped out by Space Ghost, though, hiding on the right side. Still in. Gets a... gets that
He
med
avoided
kill.
that Uber. He avoided that Uber by running all the way across the bridge, got the full health pack at house, and then took out both the sniper and the medic. So really impactful play by Space Ghost, and he was 100% the reason why his team is still holding this.
Yeah, Deldongo close, maybe going to try to edge it, but it looks like the rest of KND knows he's there. Spyro will catch him out, so no ninja cap for him, but with a lot of them on the ground and no guns, Satan's going to run in through upper. He's just going to drop down, and it looks like he's going to be able to cap that. Yes, maybe, as it looks like we may have a pause coming in.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that... Well, I was going to say that Fast Forward definitely gets this in the next, 10 seconds or so, but I don't know. Do I want to commit to that? That's the question.
Yes,
Yep. Okay.
I guess that might have been just some server lag we saw, but the cap will go through right now. So, my HUD needs to update, actually. We can see what that time is when that happens, but for now, it looks like it's just actually Figsy alone on card, kind of pushing it up right now, not healing anyone. Major Uber ad for Nursey right now, which will be in KND's favor.
That's
as they try to,
346
yeah, there it goes. As they try to, do to fast forward what was done unto them and get this really solid third hold up.
As Bull goes down to Deldongo, that's huge, you know. And this is really good work so far. And they get the force out of Nursey, yeah. Are they going to re-push right away? They're pretty far back. Are they going to push right now while all these people are dead? Can they get in before Bull spawns? That's the question. He just came
he's
up.
Already up. And yeah, Figsy at 80%. Looks like they're just going to kind of back up, take this a little bit slowly, wait for this Uber, and then take it in. You know, they know they just held KND for 14 minutes, so I think they know time's probably on their side, and that you do want to be a little rushed on offense, but I don't think they want to risk losing this ad to something dumb. As they do have Uber, they will pop a little bit early just to be safe. Exxon's going to jump down. They actually knew that KND was holding on the lower this time, unlike KND, and the third cap will come in fairly short order. About 5 minutes, so
yeah,
not the best, but
yeah, you see some good efficiency by Fast Forward, you know. I'm pretty sure the kills are vastly in favor of KND, but every time Fast Forward had any advantage, you know, they got a point off of it, right? You're seeing them take advantage of the times when they do get, a kill or two that they wouldn't normally get. And
Space Ghost gets stabbed. Scissor goes down too, actually, so Blake will go down, trades out with triple, so a lot of frags in Fast Forward's favor. Jacob in will get a stab onto Spamfest, but
huge Uber out though. I think Fixie might be caught. Is Fixie? Oh, Fixie surfs out. Good job.
She surfs out, yeah. Good job by her. So good on Fast Forward to get those kills. Use it to force out the Uber ad. Figsy now sitting on 90%, and unless Space Ghost can really sniper, as they're running up, this should be a full Uber ad coming in. Yep, will be used out. Exile and Wish going in on this. Blake forward will eventually go down in this. Yeah, gets bladed.
Yeah, and Exile used the Uber to get the gun. He bombed the NG, killed the NG first while still invincible, and then piped down the gun. Really smart play by Exile. As that should be third, I say that, but you know, it takes a long time to push that last little bit of cart.
Fallen is up on the ramp right now. We have Spamfest and Wish pushing it up, but they will hide behind the cart. He won't get a shot off. So, yeah, and actually Scissor will go down. So, couple down on Fast Forward, but they'll spawn up. That Mini will take out Exile. I don't know how that didn't get cleaned up earlier, but will go down. 6 minutes through fourth. A little bit,
Yeah, and that's the best feeling in the world when you're having like a really crappy time trying to get second, but then your push onto second is so decisive that you basically roll the next two usually incredibly annoying points right off of it, you know? And that's what Fast Forward basically did. They never stopped their momentum, and they always kept KND on like different spawn waves from one another and just kept it up the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, what was I gonna say? Just brain fart. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love Swiftwater as a map so much, because every time you play it, it feels like you play it differently. It's not like a map like Borneo where you have the same holds and the same points pretty much every time, and it's just about hitting a bunch of checkpoints. But I'll shut up as the Ubers come out right now. Really good job stuffing by Satan.
But great cap time by Fast Forward. Look how far they got that cart. just
Yeah,
in the
really
first
far forward.
push.
Actually, Wish is going off in this post fight. Satan, or excuse me, Spyro on cart will do his best to deny, but it's a wipe out of KND. Fixie on the cart, Bull really low, Fallen kills him, and Fixie
Wow.
and Fallen will cap the cart in 7.5 minutes. So that kind of middling round we were talking about is going to come true, as I think this is a really great round to end it on, because 7.5 is just, you know, just a good enough time to be competitive, but not too long that it's really, you know, or not too short that it's really unpushable. So if KND can win or I should say whoever wins this round off of this time is definitely going to be the deserved victors of this game, I think.
Still, you have to say, you know, if you believe momentum is a thing in TF2, which, you know, we don't always want to deal with such nebulous concepts, but if you take momentum to be a thing, you know, the fact that it was, what, a 3:46 time for the first couple points? That means Fast Forward rolled through the last 3 points of the map in literally less than 4 minutes, which is just an incredibly
Definitely
fast end
really
of the
solid,
point.
yeah.
And with just all of them playing so well, with constant cap time, really, like the unit of Spamfest, Deldongo, Wish, Rain, sometimes Triple, just like always having that cart going during every push. You saw how much it ended up mattering, you know? That cohesion from their flank, you know? And on their very first last push, they got the cart all the way to the brink. So,
yeah, then got the spawns, had the telly, and just closed it again with one of those post-Uber collapses, a little bit more drawn out than the ones we're
as
used
this
to
is
seeing.
crits by Nursey for the record. I just noticed that she switched over at the very end. This is crits by Nursey.
Or no, it's Uber, it's Uber. Oh, never mind. That's Figsy and Uber. You're right. My bad.
They both end with a Y. It's okay.
Indeed. Fallen's actually going to get taken out off of a sack from Bull, and Etney going to go down as well. Or actually, no, that was both of them going down. I'm mixing up my teams right now, but yeah, no Fallen means that there won't be anyone to snipe out these cart pushers. Fast forward again, playing it safe. They're going to back out here, not going to risk kind of getting caught out by some cheeky demo play like Exiled to KND last round. So,
but do they get caught out by the crits? That's now we have to see, my friend. Can they hold on here?
I'd like to think that at this point in the match, with this much pressure, Deldongo's experienced enough that he wouldn't forget to switch or to check Mediguns.
And that you would generally expect,
definitely,
you know, a team that needs to break a 7-minute time to try something really aggressive, you know?
Yeah, they are getting aggro right now, so all should be decided within the next couple seconds. They will use right now. Gonna come out. It is called. It is pop in defense. So nothing. Nothing gonna be too big. Actually, Demento comes in and takes out Spamfest. Saps her gun. So that should help the tunnel pushers move up. Although the one thing I want to say is that the scary part about crits on this point isn't the first pop, it's the second. Because if you're able to pop crits and then get the Uber in exchange, you build faster. Nursey already sitting on a 15% ad, one that's only going to increase as time goes on. So if Candy's able to just sit tight, protect their med, they should have a 25-30% ad coming in here, and that next crits is going to be the one that could maybe wipe Fast Forward.
The only problem is you like to see a situation where the next crits can come in, like win a fight is already going on, and you know, but because and Bull goes in with 85%. Like, I don't understand what that was from Bull right there.
Yeah, definitely that aggression we've been talking about, you know, kind of coming back to bite him. And actually, with him not being up, that is going to give Figsy time to finish off this Uber. Mm-hmm. So really a major misplay, as you know. You've got a 7-minute time. We've already been through 2 minutes, and when you're sitting on crits into Uber and that crits is known, it will get popped. Uber will come out from Figsy in time. Doesn't look like anyone's going to drop here. Spyro doing a good job of kind of blasting them back a little bit, but ultimately to no avail. And it looks like we will be seeing crits versus Uber round 3. And at this point, you know, Nursey's in a really kind of tough position. They are going to try to dry push this, actually. They're all coming in. Demento's going to get Figsy and Triple. So the Spy coming up big. Bull and Exile will trade, as Satan's really the only person still in here, with Rain sitting in tunnel, doing his best defending the card.
Yeah, Rain's really locking this down.
Yeah, looks like he is going to be forced to jump out, though. Maybe actually not needing to. Didn't really have anyone else, but Deldongo's going to come and take out Scissor and Spyro on card. So really clutch performances from the two of them, allowing Fast Forward to continue to hold this. And again, we just have the time ticking down, 4.5 minutes remaining, which is definitely doable. But KND really needs to kick it into overdrive right now if they want to have any chance of taking this.
What they need to do is find a way to get this point. Yeah, fucking. Sorry.
Family stream.
It's okay, but KND manages to get the point without having to use this Uber, and without
Nursey
having
drops
to
to a
use this
trap.
Oh no.
Oh, Exile had it all the way up on the windowsill, and I don't know if that got called by Deldongo or that was a blind dead, but that is absolutely huge. Not having a medic, or those crits to come in here, as it looks like Fast Forward will drop a couple players that can be sacking. Definitely a good thing for them, but still a consolation prize in the face of that drop, so
Yeah,
huge play by Exile.
You'd expect a team like KND to be able to, I'm not going to say have successful crits every time, but at least get the crits off. I mean, Bull dying the first time, Nursey getting dropped the second, you know. This is not the cohesion that you like to see from a team as experienced as KND. As Bull overextends and gets taken out by Rain, a really nice play by Rain. Rain goes down in return, but definitely worth it to kill the demo there.
And yeah, I mean, I kind of want to get a little bit on the rest of the KND combo there, as they had all been on that ledge for a couple seconds before Nursey jumped onto it. So really just got to check those things for your med, you know, no way for her to know after she's walking in there. So maybe it's the time kind of getting to them, because they only have 3 minutes now. The card is extremely close, so one or two good frags on here should allow them to cap it, and Triple will get caught out, as will Rain, going aggressive here. So Scissor gets traded out, but the card will be capped, and it looks like Fast Forward should hopefully be able to get back in. No, Fixie gets caught out with Wish.
Do they know
they
it,
have full
Maybe
Uber.
they don't
did
know
take
it?
out
Maybe
Nursey.
they can do something here.
They're going to Uber in. Fixie's actually going to get launched out. Bull's still on her, so this is really iffy, but she surfs out the air blast. Spyro actually knocking her out, but Demento, waiting a goalie, comes in and takes her out. So Nursey went down in that third push, but Fixie going down will be in the longer spawn. 30% on Nursey, and I believe she's on crits still. Yeah. Definitely on crits. Just under 2.5 minutes
That could have been a
remaining.
lot worse than it was. Let's just be happy that, you know, I mean, Fixie ended up going down eventually, but they managed to get out at first and kill Bull. So they stalled this for a little bit. It's still gonna, like, it could have just been a full drive push from KND,
Nursey
right?
goes down to Rain!
Wow. Really
was
nice work
that?
again by Raid.
Oh, he was hiding back in the red room all the way by the spawn, just came in and killed her right in front of her own spawn gate. So really big picks on Nursey coming in crucial moments. Fixie will now have Uber add, and if she builds that crits quickly, we may see it get close. But Dongo in takes out Nursey again!
Wow.
And all the chain deaths are coming in. I think Fast Forward smells blood in the water, and they are rushing forward to take this. Fast Forward is looking to maybe give this up, a decision I don't entirely agree with. With a minute and a half left, it means that if you get forced back to last, one misplay means all this work is for naught, so they will give it up.
They're trying to play the prevent defense, you know, they're trying to just stall and hope that they have enough time to do so, not take any risks, but sometimes when a map is decided by cart time, not taking a risk is a risk if you're not denying the cart constantly, if that makes any sense. So they do still have Uberad though, so you'd like to see them not beat this, but they need to be getting some constant pressure on the cart.
KND aggro, Dongo going in, will get caught out, so no stab this time, thankfully for KND, as they are approaching crits 70% in that
I don't
right
like this
room.
by Fast Forward though. If you let them get this much free cap time, you're making it more of a 50-50, right? That even if the push itself doesn't go well, they can edge the cap. You want to be denying the cart. Okay, at this point, this is about as far as the cart can go. They can't let it get any farther for free. They have to be denying it
Crits
constantly.
versus Uber about to come out. Crits used, not going to find anything. Bull gets launched, separated from the crits. Space Ghost going to go down, Spyro down, Bull down, Jacob down, Scissor down. It's a wash coming in here, and it looks like Fast Forward is going to stifle this push. Not enough time for another crits to come out as Nursey does escape.
No, there's only time for a cart,
Zerg.
There's only time for just a complete bum rush to the cart. But they know that. They know that does Fast Forward, so they have to just deny it.
Blake's getting it up forward. Scratchy coming in to kind of take the momentum, but Triple going to drop down, puts his feet on the cart, says this will not go forward. You shall not pass. And it's going to be Fast Forward taking the huge upset against KND in week 2 here.
Jesus, that's insane. And I mean, Nursey died what, like 5-6 times in that like stretch right there. When was the last time you saw that happen?
I think probably 4 or so. But
even so, when was the last time you saw that happen?
Something I think really interesting to bring up here is that 2 seasons ago, Fast Forward actually managed to 2-1 KND on Swiftwater back in UGC, and that caused the team to die pretty much. So history repeats itself, as we can see for Fast Forward coming up with the huge win here. I mean, you can say that KND didn't have all their mains, which is definitely true. If this match gets replayed with Oblivion and Eric, you know, seeing how close that cart got at the end, you say maybe this goes, you know, another way, but I don't think Fast Forward really cares. I mean, you kind of go into this season expecting KND to go 10-0 in the regular season at least, knowing that Irene's probably not going to really turn on the afterburners until playoffs, so any win you can snag against them is going to be huge.
And you could just sort of feel the frustration from Nurse. She's having to, like, is it too strong a word to say babysit, but probably, like, teach, at the very least, the way KND plays the map, if not how the map is played nowadays altogether, to a heavy who doesn't main heavy and a pyro who hasn't played in seasons, the two people who are supposed to protect her most, And if you look at the logs from that last round, just for the record, huge shout out to Rain, easily the MVP of that round.
Yeah, that's a Rain coming in with 26 kills. Next highest for Exxon and Demento with 16 each. Absolutely going massive, and we see Nursey sitting on 6 deaths. Both meds played this match extremely well. Really low death counts on both sides throughout all of it, but the wheels kind of coming off the wagon right at the end there for KND.
Yeah, and you get the feeling that either crits is not a playstyle that they're really used to, or the fact that they were missing so many of their starters, or the fact that previously they've had Jarrett, who's an incredibly cerebral player who's going to be calling, and now they have Bull, who's more of a wild card, Whatever the case, the synergy just was not there, and they were basically not able to have a single successful crits in that last round. You thought they could at least get one, but some of them, they weren't even getting to full crits before dying, A team has to be aware that, like, that 80% time is when your demo and medic cannot die under any circumstances, and, yeah, things didn't go their way. But, I still think KND is going to bounce back from this. Remember, last time that it's basically made them die, they had their full roster, and I think that was where the melancholy came in. Like, they didn't feel like they were going to get much better than losing to a team that they probably didn't respect a huge amount. But, they're going to bring their players back, and they're going to be better. I don't think this is at all the end of KND.
Definitely not, and I'm being a little facetious. They also, disbanded due to other players having commitments. I believe Nursey had to step down at the time due to sixes and some other things. So it wasn't just a loss that killed them, I was just saying that for the hype. But, definitely, still though, you can't really take anything away from Fast Forward there, as they played that masterfully. It wasn't like, some really kind of cheese occurrences happening. We saw in that second round, they absolutely just subjugated KND. I mean, the last time KND's been held to a 14-minute time on any map, I honestly can't remember. And then, they kind of won the dominant round, and then they won the close round too, which really shows that it wasn't really, a fluke. I mean, definitely an upset, but they played really well. We saw the players on, Fast Forward, especially Wish and Rain, who coming into the season, I think were probably some of their weaker links, just on paper. Rain not having that much experience playing Highlander Soldier at a high level, and then Wish having some experience, but being looked down a bit on more of a pug scout than, some, as compared to other scouts at higher levels like Arik and Banny, but both of them really coming up big tonight to kind of silence the haters and lead their team to victory.
Yeah, and if you look at the medics, I mean, how often do you see a medic die fewer times than Nursey, especially in a match this close? But Figsy only dying 10 times to Nursey's 13, 7 of those deaths being to Demento and Space Ghost. So in sort of like open play, not to pit classes, only 3 deaths. That shows that their team was playing incredibly well around each other, especially in the second 2 rounds. Yeah, like now that I have the fix logs, Figsy only taking 80 damage per minute. That's just enormous.
That's ridiculously low. Yeah, Unicorn Wizard played 1/6 of that game, and he took 62 DPM, or DTM, I should say. So, very defensive play out of her. We rarely saw her getting caught out in situations other than when, pretty much last pushes, and when her team was already getting wiped around her. She very rarely got picked in the middle of fights. So. Big props to her and just really the rest of Fast Forward.
I mean, when you look at KND, you can point to so many players who either were out of their league in terms of the situation of them even having to play, or who played below their normal level. But can you point to a single player on Fast Forward who didn't have a good game? I think all 9 of them played very well that game. Even players like Triple, who are coming into their role. By the end of the game, were doing their jobs extremely well. Their flank was playing incredibly well. I would say that overall the flank, of Wish, Rain, Spamfest, and Del Dongo, I would say overall outperformed the flank from KND,
Hands down, yeah. I mean, if you just look at the combined logs.
And pushing the cart, yeah. Just on offense, always having the cart push, and on defense, always denying the flank from the other team, yeah. They were more cohesive, and they probably out-DM'd them to an extent, so really impressive.
Yeah, and, writing the articles, I feel a little bit silly because I put so much weight onto the Sniper v Sniper, and really it didn't turn into anything. Neither sniper did poorly. I mean, Space Ghost did have actually a lot of deaths, almost double fallens, which allowed Fast Forward to really get aggressive, but it was coming off of, good counter snipes, the flank having the flank having so much pressure combined with Del Dongo. But honestly, the snipers are probably one of the last things you talk about here. You talk about Fast Forward's combo kind of evolving as the match goes on. You talk about their flank winning all of these fights, and a lot of the smart plays they made just to bait KND into bad positions and collapse on them. So
yeah, I mean, it's not very often that you see a match where both spies probably made more plays than both snipers on both teams, and I think that did happen
especially
today.
at this high of a level too, where
Exactly.
snipers can have such a, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for, like a dampening effect on the game,
Yeah,
where
they
everyone
can
plays passive, so they're looking for spies.
exactly. Yeah, where the snipers can like usually you see snipers can pretty much decide some of these fights. Like the snipers were getting picks, but with like one or two exceptions, you didn't see them deciding a fight where like a team was so scared of a sniper that they played more passive than usual, or just got completely wiped by like a 4K. That just didn't happen. So I guess good on both teams for disrespecting the snipers to an extent, but also not something you see every day.
Yeah, smartly disrespecting the snipers, we should say, as
Mhm.
there are times to do that and there are times to not. And it looks like both meds and teams in general really knew when to do that. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure we could stay here all night talking about how well Fast Forward played and just how good of a game it was. But I do think it's a little past 11 EST right now, so I think it's time to wrap things up. Mustard, you got any closing thoughts you wanna give out?
Well, I've been around for a while, my man, and there are a lot of seasons where people said this team has it in the bag. They're so much better than everyone else. They're gonna go like whatever 8-0, 10-0, 16-0, depending on the format, depending on the league. But things don't always work out exactly as planned. I mean, when I'm playing demo for a team, they get first place. But other than that, nothing is that predictable. So these guys just need to figure some things out. But I wouldn't count out any of these teams. I think Irene can be very strong. I think Fast Forward was looking pretty good today. I don't know if that's going to lead to some crazy upset in the playoffs, but things aren't always as predictable as they seem on first glance.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad we got to see that, and I'm just glad that we've been able to cast two just really great matchups. Back to back. You weren't here for the product match last week, but it was just as crazy. Maybe a little less, since we didn't actually see the upset victory, which I'll throw in quotes right now, because I think Fast Forward have very clearly proved themselves to be able to kind of swing with the big boys, and they don't need to rely on just getting lucky to win rounds, since I think they're really announcing their presence and saying like, look, we're here. Maybe we don't have the star players or the big sixes names that other teams have, but we've got creativity, we've got some brains, and we want to play and we want to win, and that's exactly what they're doing.
For sure. In a historical context, there's always a couple teams who can pull out players not just on the Highlander classes, but even on classes like Medic, on Soldier, on Demo, on Scout, that could compete with Invite players, at least in a Highlander setting. It's not impossible. Players like Wish, like Exile, like Figsy, and like Rain exist, who can compete versus more Invite stacked Highlander teams. They're not always that common, and sometimes it takes a lot of seasons of being on the same team as one another to build that up, but it can happen.
So I propose to you the question: is Fast Forward the KND of RGL?
We'll see. I mean,
yeah, a little too early to answer that.
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
they'll have to win the season.
KND started by exceeding expectations at every turn, right? First, people didn't think they were even going to be good, then they were. Then they didn't think they were going to be beating teams in playoffs, then they were. Then they didn't think they would beat an admittedly weak and Ginyu Force in the finals, and they did. And then they said, oh well, you're not going to be able to repeat that once they regroup and are a better team, and they did that as well. So KND was a series of proving the haters wrong. This was number one. Let's see if they can continue down that path.
Yeah, definitely, and be looking forward to it as this season progresses. Definitely, I think Fast Forward might be one of the teams to watch. I know I kind of painted Denny's as that in the articles, but they didn't have too good of a showing against KND last week. And again, we have these rosters kind of this roster asterisk that's always going to be floating above this. But in general, though, I have to imagine Fast Forward would have been at least been able to put up a fight against KND's full roster, even if they didn't end up taking the rounds or the win. So I think we'll leave it at that. So got Dolphin. Just want to give a quick shout out to Dolphin. Been on camera this entire time throughout this really grueling match. So as always, the silent hero behind our production. So let's get some hearts in the chat for him. And I think that's going to do it for us. I'm Alto, joined by Mustard and Dolphin behind the scenes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.